What is the Supreme Court case Janus v. AFSCME all about? Well, we'll start with the two sides. The first side is Mark Janus. He's a guy that works for the Department of Healthcare and Family Services in Illinois. And AFSCME is the American Federation of State, County, and Municipal Employees. It's a public sector union, basically. What this Supreme Court case does is seek to repeal Abood v. Detroit Board of Education from 1977, which, to summarize, says public employees must pay union dues if their department has a union. Repealing this would make the public sector classified as something called right to work. You've probably heard of this before. What right to work means is if there is a union where I work, I have the option of joining it. I don't have to if I don't want to. Many big unions like SEIU use union dues to fund lobbying, to influence legislation, but according to National Review, policy claims that public sector unions cannot force their workers to fund political actions. Workers can demand to pay only agency fees, which are less than union dues and supposedly don't fund the union's politics. However, according to the Competitive Enterprise Institute, unions can use these dues to fund national conventions, which, are insanely political. And I would add on top of this, note that in the public sector, unions are basically debating public policy when negotiating anyway. They have to be political. The argument for this case claims to be a free speech issue. As I explained earlier, at the moment, public sector employees have to fund the union, a political organization, whether they want to or not. Is it really free speech if I can't decide where my money goes? I'm not entirely sure that does count as free speech, but I see it as corruption nonetheless. The union is basically telling you that you have to support them, or you're fired. Now, while I'm in support of anything right to work because I think it's the principled position, I can see an argument on the other side. Unions tend to represent everyone and can't really narrow it just to those actively participating, so some people can ride free without having to pay. The way I would respond to that is, number one, that's a consequentialist argument, not a principled position. And two, if a union really is pretty great, and some of those do exist, I'll be glad to pay, and I don't care if some people ride free. I might think negatively of them, but I'll support what benefits me if it's really that worth it. If the union's doing a really great job, I'm glad to pay to keep it. But even though I disagree with this argument, I think it's got some legitimacy. It's much better than the arguments by unions that call those that disagree with them anti-worker extremists. Generally, if my opponents call me an extremist or radical or misrepresent my views, I tend to see that as a positive sign that I'm on the right side of things. But lastly, the results. There hasn't been a ruling yet, but it looks like the Supreme Court will almost definitely rule in favor of Janus. Last year, after the death of Scalia, there was a similar case called Fredericks v. California Teachers Association, and the results were 4-4. With Neil Gorsuch on the Supreme Court now, he'll likely side with Janus against the unions. But I guess we'll see. But honestly, that's about it. Short, sweet, and to the point. If you found this video valuable, please like the video, follow me on social media. I'll likely keep following this case and post the results when I see them. Subscribe for more videos if you're interested, and thanks for watching.